Michael Bloomberg makes the debate stage for the first time, facing Democratic rivals. Black Republican buries GOP senators for pocketing buries and political payoff while acquitting Trump. GOP lawmakers unveil a sneaky new plan to suppress the youth vote in Arizona. Mark Zuckerberg and Trump have struck a deal to help the president get reelected, says George Soros. And the Boy Scouts of America, hobbled by multiple sex abuse lawsuits, have filed for bankruptcy protection. Let's get to the news. Billionaire Mike Bloomberg has qualified finally for the upcoming Democratic presidential debate, marking his first time he'll be standing alongside the rivals he has so far bypassed the early voting states and using his personal fortune to define himself through television ads. In a new NPR PBS NewsHour poll published on Tuesday, showing that Bloomberg, with 19% of the national vote in the Democratic nomination contest. The former New York mayor, who launched his presidential campaign back in November, will appear on Wednesday's debate in Las Vegas alongside former Vice President Joe Biden and Senators Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar, and former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, following the billionaires and philanthropist Tom Steyer is still hoping to qualify. Bloomberg's campaign said that it was seeing a groundswell of support across the country, and that's qualifying for Wednesday's debate. Is this the latest sign that Mike's plan and ability to defeat Trump is resonating with most Americans? John Meredith, a Republican who previously worked as a lobbyist on Capitol Hill, has written a brutal column slamming members of his own party for letting President Donald Trump off the hook during a Senate impeachment trial. In a column written for AL.com, Meredith ran through how President Trump subverted the entire American justice system through pardons for supporters like Sheriff Joe Arpaio, ordering his own officials not to comply with subpoenas, and intervening in the sentencing recommendation of ally Roger Stone. In other words, the faithful administration of justice is functionally impossible in America today. He argues what remains is the illusion of justice. Meredith, has taken Republican senators to task for shrugging off Trump's abuse of the criminal justice system and further enabling his assault on the rule of law. He says, upon further reflection, the plethora, of openly brazen political payoffs to partisan senator jurors for the willful violation of their impeachment oath is the worst element of Donald Trump's assault on the truth and justice. One documented example of this flagrant miscarriage of justice occurs only days after the vote for acquittal, when Senator Lisa Murkowski miraculously landed a $20 million U.S. Department of Transportation grant for port infrastructure in her home state of Alaska. Republican Arizona State Representative Bob Thorpe is pushing a new plan aimed at suppressing college students from voting in his state. The Arizona Republic reports that Thorpe this week proposed a new legislation that would prohibit students from listing college dormitories as addresses when registering to vote, and instead force them to register at their homes where they live when they aren't in school. Critics of the bill, however, tell the Arizona Republic that Thorpe's bill is widely self-serving, as it pushed out voters who overwhelmingly lean Democratic out of the district that he himself carried fewer than 600 votes in his most recent election. George Soros, a billionaire philanthropist, says that Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump seem to have struck a deal of mutual assistance agreement that would help the U.S. president get reelected, referring to Facebook's willingness to continue publishing political adverts. In a letter written to the Financial Times, Mr. Soros accuses the Facebook owner of obfuscating the facts after he argued for greater regulation of the internet last Saturday. Mark Zuckerberg wrote, "Even if I'm not going to agree with every regulation in the near term, I do think it's going to be a thing that helps create trust and better govern the internet. And will benefit everyone, including us, over the long term. Mr. Zuckerberg told this to an audience in Munich security conference. He followed with an op-ed in the Financial Times on Sunday, asserting that Facebook needs more oversight and accountability. People need to feel that the global technology platform answers to everyone, so regulation should hold companies accountable when they make mistakes, he also went on to say. Mark Zuckerberg appears to have engaged in some of the mutual assistance arrangements with Donald Trump to help him get reelected. Facebook does not need to wait for government regulations to stop accepting any political advertising in 2020 until after the election on November 4th. If there's any doubt whether the ad is political, it should err on the side of caution and refuse to publish it. It is unlikely that Facebook will follow the course. Boy Scouts of America have filed for bankruptcy protection, facing mounting legal costs for defending itself against lawsuits alleging sexual abuse of boys. The vulnerable nonprofit sought a Chapter 11 protection in a court filing on Tuesday. A spokesman for the Boy Scouts of America said that the filing has a two key objective. Victims who have been harmed during their time in scouting and continue carrying out its mission for years to come. The BSA intends to use the Chapter 11 process to create a victims' compensation trust that would provide equitable compensation to victims. The Boy Scouts say that the national organization had filed for Chapter 11 and that local councils that provide programming and other services are financially independent. The BSA cares deeply about all victims of abuse and sincerely apologizes to anyone who has been harmed during their time in scouting. We are outraged that there have been times when individuals took advantage of our program to harm innocent children. Roger Mosley, the BSA President and Chief Executive Officer, said in a statement on Tuesday, "While we know nothing can undo the tragic abuse of the victim that the victim suffered, we believe that the Chapter 11 process with the proposed trust structure will provide equitable compensation to all victims while maintaining the Boy Scouts of America's important mission." And once again, thank you for watching CCN News. I am your host, Captivating Christian. And as always, be the change you want to see. If you want change, the change starts with you. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And leave comments below. I would like to hear what you think about these stories and more. All right, have a good day. Peace.